What's up, guys? What's up, guys? Welcome to the latest edition of Terrible Towel Tuesday. I am your host, SimFBallCritic, and as you can see, guys, we have a new banner in the background. We got to give a shout outs, man, to my man Jump 2 Raw. He knows who he is. He created this background for me. I'm forever grateful. And this is how Terrible Towel is gonna, definitely look for the foreseeable future, man. So hopefully you guys like the background there. Little behind today, guys, because I don't necessarily have all of my tools handy. I don't have, my pop-ups, so you're not gonna see pictures of the players and things like that. We'll try to get back to you, back to you guys with that next week. But having a little trouble with my software. My Stream Deck software is acting up with OBS, which is the software I use to stream. So I can't get my pop-ups and my gifs and the round of applause, etc., is not working via OBS. But I don't think you guys care about that. Really, what you came here for is to hear about the Pittsburgh Steelers. And I'm going to give you guys, a quick rundown on what I saw in the last preseason game and my outlook and my hopes going forward in terms of what I want to see, man, out of the Steelers against the Titans. All right, so we'll definitely talk about that. Let me say what's up to a few people before we kick it off here. What up to my man Deron Smith? What's popping? Champagne Pop, what's up, brother? Let's see who else is all up in here early. Oh, Debbie's in here early. What's up, Debbie? Michael Garman, Ali Howard, Adam Worthy, Joseph Della Vicia, and Frank V. So you guys are in here early, man. So shout outs to you guys early, and y'all know how we're gonna do it. We're gonna definitely give a quick recount and things, and then near the end I'll come back in here and I'll look at some of you guys' comments. So please, while I'm saying that, let me remind you guys, and hopefully I'm not too loud, man. I see my volume is peaking a little bit, so hopefully it's not too loud. But like I said, while you guys are here, start thinking about what you want to ask, with your comments and things like that. Go ahead and put that in the comment section, and I'll read down near the end, and we'll address some of those things. So the first thing I want to say, man, is, not on my job today, guys. I forgot to actually listen to Tomlin's press conference. I'm sure he did one today with it being Tuesday, so I'm going to go check that out perhaps a little bit later. I'm guessing he did it. I know the game is on Saturday, so he may have waited until tomorrow to do it, but we'll check. So if you guys have heard that already, I'm not going to comment on that because I haven't seen it yet, but I'll definitely take a look once we're done here. Now let's take a look and let's recap a couple things from that game. First thing I want to know is how you guys felt about the game against Green Bay. Now let's address the elephant in the room, the big old elephant with the trunk and the tusk. Let's address it. The most points given up in the preseason by the Pittsburgh Steelers, a 50-burger, 51 points to be exact. Now, I'm not too upset about it because I understand it's preseason, and during this time of the year, guys, I'm just looking at individuals, right? I'm looking at the team somewhat, but I'm looking at individuals and seeing how certain individuals perform. The main reason why I don't really look at the whole team as a whole, because we're not seeing the whole units. Even with the defense, you got a decent amount of starters out there, not all. Same thing with the offense. So it's kind of hard to gauge who your team really is without seeing the full package. So let's be honest. Preseason, there's really no game planning. You might have a little game planning coming into this week, even though I don't expect Roethlisberger to play much. But also, you're not seeing the full elements of game planning and things of that nature, right? And again, you're not seeing whole units together. So it's kind of hard to gauge what exactly is going on. So with that said, I still didn't like that 50-burger at all, okay? At all. And 14 of those points came from one of the things I'm going to address first. Quarterback play. Okay, so was very excited, man, that we were going to get a chance to see both Joshua Dobbs as well as Mason Rudolph. Now, I was even more excited to see that Mason Rudolph got the first nod. He's starting right out the chute, right? But what happens to Mason Rudolph? First play of the game. I mean, throws just telegraphed, if that's what you want to call it, whatever. But I mean, he throws a pick six on the first play of the game. And clearly you could tell it was just, I'm going to do a quick drop back, get in the rhythm, easy throw, quick. It looked like it was probably a curl or something like that. Hitch route maybe. And the old veteran, man, Williams jumped that thing and took it to the house, right? So what was I waiting to see after that? I wanted to see how he responded. So let's stay on Mason Rudolph for a minute. Now, the next possession, Rudolph did decent. He handed the ball off some, and James Conner did his thing. We're going to talk about him. But I think he did handle the interception fairly well. I didn't feel like Rudolph was shaken up after that. I didn't feel like he was, shook and couldn't perform. He still looked comfortable even after that. Made a couple throws later on in the half. He didn't have a great game. Let's put it out there. Mason Rudolph, his performance did not go up from the last preseason game. In my opinion, it might have went down a little bit. But still, him being comfortable out there and things of that nature, I still get that from him. But, it just looks like he's your typical rookie quarterback. He's not going to be a world beater right out the gate. I think he answered the question as to why Landry Jones is still going to be the number 2, more than likely. And there you have it. But what I was really paying attention to was his body language and how he performed after the pick 6. As far as his performance, not really much, not worth really talking about. I'll see what some of you guys have to say when I look at your comments. Now, let's talk James Conner. Woo! Woo! James Conner looking good out there, ain't he? I mean, we all know he came in a little more slim and trim. He looks quick. And what I'm seeing, guys, is I'm seeing a burst. It looks like he's hitting the hole very quickly. That step. He's not wasting no time. And we all know from last year, if you know James Conner and if you are a fan of James Conner, you already know his run style, even coming out of college, right? But we're seeing it on display in game, in preseason action. That game in particular, he's hitting the hole fast, he's very decisive, and he's breaking tackles. I mean, that drive when he scored a touchdown, that was the James Conner show. I like that. I like that a lot. Because what I'm going to be looking for out of James Conner is I want to see have we found the next guy that can probably start as the featured back once Le'Veon Bell leaves, which we more than likely know this is probably Le'Veon Bell's last season. Have we already found the starting running back? And the reason why that's important, guys, because we need to keep an eye on that to find out, are we going to have to go on the draft early next year? Or do we have our starter already? And maybe you draft another guy to bring in the stable. So far, so good. James Conner's looking great. Outstanding drive for James Conner. Love it. Stephen Ridley didn't play. We don't know what that's about. Maybe it's a hold out the veteran type of thing. I don't know. Didn't really get to see much out of Jalen Samuels in that game. But I really think it's going to be a tough situation, man, when it comes down to deciding if the Steelers are going to keep 4 backs, which I think they may, but who's going to be the 4th back? I don't know. It might be Toussaint, man. If Toussaint can do enough on special teams, I don't want to go as far as saying that the Steelers will cut Jalen Samuels only because he's a rookie and, he has some other pieces to bring to the table, as far as other things he can do. So it's going to be interesting to see which way the Steelers go. I think Ridley may have secured his spot. Again, being the veteran, has shown a couple things while being with the Steelers. So it's going to be interesting to see how they break the roster down in that nature. Let's see, who else do we want to address really quick? How could I forget? We might as well hold on. Let's go to Dobbs first, and then I'm going to go to the man of the hour in terms of offense. Dobbs had a better game. Joshua Dobbs is not a world beater either. Joshua Dobbs is pretty much what we kind of have expected him to be, just looking at how he played last season in preseason. I'm not seeing the step up. Just the eye test. I'm not seeing where he's improved greatly. Made some decent throws, but then he also still has some questionable decisions and questionable throws. Doesn't have a lot on his ball when he throws it, and we knew this. Coming into when we drafted him, we all knew that accuracy was one of the things you would have to work on with him. But I don't think he's terrible. You know, if it's a way for us to keep Josh Dobbs, I would. You know, I think if they can get him on the practice squad, perhaps, maybe, you keep him there just to see if you can develop him one more year, because here's the reason why. Landry Jones, as much as some people hate or love him, this is his last season, perceivably. You would like to be able to say, okay, next year Mason Rudolph and Dobbs will be capable backups, but we don't know that yet. But it would be great to at least keep Dobbs another year to see if he will ever turn into that. Will he clear waivers? We don't know. But I think as it stands right now, I think the quarterback room will be Roethlisberger, Landry Jones, Mason Rudolph. I think Dobbs is the odd man out unless they can find a way to keep him. Let's see. Let's talk about James Washington. My goodness. Listen, don't you love when you watch tape, or let's say some of you guys really knew about James Washington. I knew him because I've seen a few of their games, him and Rudolph in college, right? I watch a decent amount of college football. You know, I'm a Florida State fan, so I watch most of their games. But on Saturdays when it's on, I tune in, especially to some of those colleges that, has a decent name. Now you can argue whether Oklahoma State is a big name, but it's big enough for you to pay attention. So I saw those two guys play. You see them on SportsCenter, you're like, oh, okay, this dude is a playmaker. Then of course when when the draft was starting to happen, I started going in and doing my little dissecting, looking at certain positions and certain players. I got a chance to watch a lot of James Washington, and this is exactly what I've seen out of him in college. Combative catcher. If the ball comes in his vicinity, he's going to fight you for it. And a lot of times he comes down with it. And my goodness, was that on display in this game or not? Speaking of Dobbs, before I talk a little bit more about James Washington, Washington could have had 3 touchdowns if Dobbs puts that ball out in front of him. Remember the one when he was on the left side and he did a little out and back in type of kind of like a fly pattern? Wide open. Dobbs leads him. That's 6 of them things. That's touchdown. But either way, comes up with that catch. So he made 3 big catches. And now let's be specific. The touchdown where he takes the ball, basically reaches over this dude's head and pulls the ball in. Ridiculous. Then the other one down on the other side, when it's basically a 50-50 ball, and it's him and the receiver. He wrestles the ball away from him for that touchdown. This dude is nasty, man. And I think that James Washington is absolutely going to sneak in the starting lineup. From what I'm hearing earlier in the week, well, not earlier in the week because it's only Tuesday, but, since the game has been played, there's been some mention that they're hearing that Tomlin said that Washington might get a look, more so with the ones. Listen, man, I think the starting lineup should be, especially when in specific personnel packages, particularly when you're in an 11 personnel, you got 3 wide. I clearly think that it's going to be Antonio Brown, Juju Smith-Schuster in the slot, and James Washington on the outside. On the other side. I think that's what it's going to be. And I think he's deserved it. He deserves it, and we'll see. We'll see. And if you guys have a chance, man, if you're on Twitter, go check out the breakdown that Brian Baldinger did. Baldy, y'all know who I'm talking about. He does these great breakdowns on Twitter where he's, basically breaking down plays. He did a good one on James Washington, showing his route running ability and his combat catch, etc., etc. I think he's going to be special for us. He's performing. He's standing out right now. And the 2 standouts of that game, James Conner and James Washington. So if your name was James, you did your thing in that game. So I'm very excited about seeing what James Conner is going to help the Steelers do this year as well. Maybe there's more opportunity to spell Le'Veon Bell, as well as, again, I'm excited about James Washington. Now let's talk about the defense. Now I got notes here. Got notes here about the defense, guys, so bear with me. Let me take a look and see where I want to start. Let's see. Man. Okay. Let me preface it with this. It's not as bad as it looks, guys. I don't think if you go back and analyze the game, and I know I'm crazy, but I've watched the Packers game virtually 3 times. You know, I haven't watched each and every play, but I've watched specific possessions and specific times of the game and blah, 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 and looking at specific people when certain people are out there. Problem areas. Right now, it would seem to be inside linebacker, but I have to give some credit to Dave Bryant of SteelersDepot.com, where he said on their podcast, the inside backers didn't play as bad as we think. You know, in fact, and he charted it, and I can't remember the number, so don't hold me to it. But it wasn't really that many plays beyond a certain amount of yards in that game. Like, basically, they didn't really kill us against, in the run game. They didn't kill us. Go back and look at the tape, and I did go back and look. I said, okay, it wasn't really that bad. I will tell you the things that stuck out the most in that game. There were some missed tackles. Terrell Edmonds had a huge missed tackle on, I think, on a 3rd down when they threw it out to one of the receivers. I can't remember who it was. Might have been a tight end. And, Edmonds has him dead to rights, misses the tackle. The guy scampers down the field. Okay? Edmonds did some good things in that game. He made some special teams plays, forced the fumble. I think Edmonds is going to be okay. Now, let's talk about the touchdowns that he gave up, okay? The first one, I mean, you give Aaron Rodgers that kind of time, he's going to find somebody. It's just going to happen. And it's just going to happen, and he put it up in a good spot, had the ball in his hand, 4 or 5 seconds, boom. Somebody's going to pop open. It's Aaron Rodgers. On that fade, actually, Terrell Edmonds was in good position. Again, when you're throwing it to, I believe it was Jimmy Graham, might have been on both of those touchdowns. But when you throw it to a Jimmy Graham who is 6'5", 6'6", whatever he is, might be a little taller than that. Might be 6'7", I don't know. I just know he's an ex-basketball player, so he's probably at least 6'5". Already, he's that tall, and then Aaron Rodgers throws it way up. Yeah, I'm just saying. That's a hard play. That's a hard play for anybody to make defensively when you don't know exactly where the ball is going. That fade route, throw it up high in the end zone. Now, I can say this. He contested it better than what we saw Sean Davis do against Gronk last year on that 2-point conversion. And that ain't me picking picking with Sean Davis. I'm just saying. You see what I'm saying? So, let's not beat the rookie up too much about that. Okay, he made some good plays. He made some plays he's going to have to clean up, but I think Terrell Edmonds is going to be okay. When you use the eye test, this guy is around the ball a lot. He's going to be a baller. I'm not too worried about him. Like I said, I love what he did with the forced fumble. I like seeing that out of him. The question is going to be, man, inside linebacker will be tested. Will be tested. Bostic, again, he's not Ryan Shazier. Nobody is. But we're going to have to see how he pans out. He sticks his nose in there every now and then as well. But I've seen an occasional missed tackle from Bostic. Also, another safety that I want to give credit, Morgan Burnett had a better game, even though Morgan Burnett, again, there was an opportunity where, they could have tackled the catch, and Morgan Burnett missed the tackle. And I think it was the one with Edmonds. Adams, Devontae Adams. I think it was on that slant or whatever. Burnett kind of takes the wrong angle, misses the tackle, and the dude scampers down the field. However, if you look at the rest of that part of the time that Burnett was out there, he made some great tackles. Made tackles in the line, and he made some tackles on the second level. Looks like he is what is advertised, which we know. If you've ever watched Green Bay, you know what Morgan Burnett is. Morgan Burnett has been a guy who can tackle very well, plays in the box, can cover your tight end. Excuse me. So that's what we're going to get. So I want to see that show up for the Steelers. That's all I'm saying. I'm not questioning what Morgan Burnett is or isn't. I know what he can be, and I think he's definitely going to be, in my opinion, even though I didn't hate Mike Mitchell, I think he is going to be an upgrade over what we saw from Mike Mitchell. But I just want to see it on our team. You know what I mean? So that's why I'm kind of judging him that way as well. But the inside linebacker position, man, clearly Clearly, Vince Williams was the best one we got right now. And I don't know if that's just because of what Vinny brings to the table or if it's just that he knows the system better. But Vince Williams was out there balling. Go look at the game again. Vince Williams was out there about his business. A lot of pressures. You know what I'm saying? Vinny won't play no games out there. So if Bossy can at least give us a decent, just give us decent linebacker play, I think we might be okay. Stephon Tuitt missed the sack. When your boy, was it Hundley? When he rolled out and did the little circus rollout and scored a touchdown on the scramble. Tuitt had him right in his clutches. Let him go. The rest is history. So, to me, the theme of the defense that I'm seeing from that game was tackling. You know, and I don't even think that the coverage and things like that was that bad. Because, you know, contrary to what a lot of people believe, you know, you're going to have holes in the defense. It happens to every single defense. You're not going to stop every play. You're not going to stop every drive. It's the NFL. But you just want to see consistent play. And I don't think that we've been beat up too much, you know, against the pass in this last game. It's just most of the time it was just missed tackles. And I know people always want to point to coaching, but listen, I don't know how much more a coach can do to help somebody tackle. I just don't. By the time you get to the pro level, you're either a good tackler or you're not. You can't put that on Coach Tomlin. You can't put that on Coach Bradley. You can't put that on Keith Butler. These guys are supposed to know how to tackle. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. And again, I'm not saying that you make every tackle. Missed tackles are going to happen. Everybody misses tackles, even the best of the best. I mean, think about it. When as good of a linebacker that Ray Lewis was, he missed the tackle from time to time. It happens. But I just need them to improve on tackling the catch. We'll see. Bud Dupree showed a little spark. And, you know, of course, you got to take it with a grain of salt because not going against, you know, the best competition at the time. But, you know, he did. You know, I think the starting tackle might have still been out there. I'm not sure. But it's not always about that. It's about seeing what the guy delivered. Whoever he's facing is who he's facing. What I'm seeing out of Bud Dupree, though, is it's still what we've always seen out of Bud. Good first step, beating guys around the edge. I want to see him, you know, I need to see Bud Dupree develop some more pass rush moves. What happens when somebody stifles that? You know what I'm saying? I want to see his counters and things like that and work his hands. So let's keep an eye on Bud. It's just good to see him back on the field. And let's see, is there anything else I got, guys? I think that might be it, man, before I throw it to you guys. Y'all know I do these things mostly off of memory, but I did write some stuff down. There's some key things, actually, I did want to point out really quick. I think those were some bad calls against SimFBall, the helmet thing. I don't know what the NFL is going to do with this rule. Some of these calls I've been seeing, watching these games, man, not just ours, but everybody else around the league. I actually posted one on Twitter that they called against one of the Vikings linebackers on a sack. It's ridiculous. They're going to have to revisit this rule in terms of the leading with. These dudes are not even leading with their helmet. Their head is even up. It's crazy. I think that was a bad call on SimFBall. Clearly, it was shoulder, led to contact. As well as, I think that pass interference against Brian Allen was a little iffy. I didn't like that. Outside of that, actually, guys, there is one other thing I wanted to say about the defense. Once again, I think I asked this last week. What is going on with Javon Hargrave, man? Why is he being asked to play so much? And why is Daniel McCullers getting the first team reps? Interesting. Now, listen, I'm a Steelers fan. I am a fan of certain players whenever they're on the team, but I'm a fan first, okay? I don't care who gets the job done. If Dan McCullers is out playing, which I don't think that's happening, but if Dan McCullers is offering more than what Javon Hargrave is offering, so be it. Keep him out there. But I'm very curious to know what's going on with that. I saw an article today. I didn't get a chance to read it, but I saw the headline saying that the Steelers might be thinking about going with 2 nose tackles or rotating them or whatever. I'm going to have to, read that article. Alex Kazua posted it on Steelers Depot, so I'm going to check that out. I just don't understand what's going on with that, man. This now makes 2 preseason games where you've seen Javon Hargrave out there with the non-starters and into the 3rd quarter. Very interesting. So it'll be interesting to see who starts come this week. With, you expect mostly your starters are going to play, even though I don't expect Ben Roethlisberger to play much. What if I'm looking out of this game? Let me address that real quick. I want to see the defense. I want to see fully staffed defense if they're healthy and see how they handle things, man. I want to see how they're looking as a unit, all of the starters. Hayden, Sean Davis at free safety, both of our ends, both Tuitt, Haywood, Hargrave, or McCullers, whoever's going to be. And I'm assuming Bostic has taken the role from Metakevich, so I want to see Bostic, Williams, Dupree, and Watt. If Watt is ready to play, he's probably not. But I want to see that core unit. If they all are playing, how are they playing early? We all know you don't know what your team is really going to be until about week 6, week 7. So I'm still not going to overreact because, Super Bowls are not won in the preseason. Remember a few years back where the Detroit Lions was 4-0 and went 0-16. So I don't really care about preseason for that regard. Even though it does make you feel a little better when you can see the potential that your team has. So, I get it. All right, well, I talked a whole lot, guys. 28 minutes straight. Good Lord. So, we got a few minutes left here. So, let's go ahead and take a look at you guys' comments here. And actually, I want to read one comment. What up, Tony? I see Tony's up in here. What up, Kenyon? Cousin of mine, which actually is more like a big brother, but he is my cousin, text me. Because I sent him the link as well. He's a gigantic Steelers fan. And he says Edmonds might snatch Burnett's spot. And yeah, TJ and Vance. He's basically saying TJ and Vance McDonald being out is huge, that they're not playing. Vance McDonald could be another Ladarius Green, if you will, as far as being able to stretch the field. Probably not as fast as Ladarius Green, and I agree with that. I agree with everything that my cousin just said there. Yes, I think Vance McDonald is a huge piece that we haven't seen in preseason yet. I hope his foot is okay. We're going to need that. And TJ Watt, let's see if his second year, if he can elevate to another level. So we'll see. All right, so let me take a look at some of these comments here, guys, and then we're going to get up out of here. Let's see. Excuse me. You guys saying you guys are loving the new graphics, man. I appreciate that. And shout outs to my guy again, Jump 2 Raw. He knows who he is. He made that background, man. So he showed us some love, man. Showed us some love. Kenya said the game was ugly. It was, Kenyon, but I ain't gonna overreact. But it's tough to watch, man. Imagine watching it more than once like I did. Jesse Williams says, I think we're going to need our starters on defense this year. Everybody going to need to be disciplined. Fully agree. Fully agree. Champagne Poppy says, Bell looks fat. Really, I haven't seen Le'Veon Bell. That's kind of hard for me to believe, though. Le'Veon Bell is usually in great shape. So I don't know. He could be, but that's kind of hard for me to believe. Debbie J says, Connor played well. J-Dub balled. Juju was lit as usual. Dobbs had a decent game. Yeah, that fully agree with all of that assessment. Absolutely. See what else you guys got. Man Miller says, how do you feel about Butler telling us to relax about the defense when he should have been the one fired? Well, I don't agree with that. I don't agree with the fact that you're saying he should have been fired. And let me explain to you why really, really quick. I don't want to dive too far into it. I don't think it's Keith Butler. I think it's clear, man, as I watch the games, and again, we all see it from different lenses. But I think it's clear that it's the players. Okay? There could be some times where there was a play call here and there, something and it didn't work. But I have to believe the coaches when they even say themselves last year, well, listen, a lot of times we had the spot drop. You know, we didn't necessarily have the personnel, you know, type of guys that you would need to do more match and They said they may be looking to do more match coverage and things like that this year. I have to go along with that. I have to believe that. Keith Butler has been on staff for a very, very long time. Has been there, if I'm not mistaken, even when we had Super Bowls. As a linebacker coach. So I don't think Keith Butler is the issue. I don't believe that. Now, if we have another year or two where the defense is still poor, then yeah, of course, maybe you might have to look out and reach out, and get some different staff in there. I think what's very telling is the fact that Tomlin did get new staff in areas on the defense, but he didn't affect Keith Butler's job. So I think that he's still confident in what he's doing. And again, y'all know how I feel about coaches, man. To me, it's got to be something blatant. Because you bring a new coach in and he doesn't perform, then what do you say? Oh, let's fire him too. So I really don't believe it's always coaching. Coaches coach, players execute. That's just my philosophy. Even when I played football and there was times that we played bad, none of us could blame the coach. We just was getting our butts kicked. Or we was not communicating, or we were lazy on assignments, etc., or we just didn't have the talent. So that's just how I see it. Let's see. Hey, Leonard Langley, my father-in-law Leonard. What's up? What's up? Let me read his comment. He said, yes, the defense looked bad, but we hoping it's just preseason. But if not, we can be in trouble with teams with a good quarterback. Listen, you right on the money, Leonard. Right on the money. Because me and Leonard we talk about this like every Sunday. And I'll be seeing him tomorrow as well. When I do the Bible study. We look at them quarterbacks that we're going to be facing. We got some quarterbacks that we're facing. And we're facing the Atlanta Falcons with that complement of receivers and running back that they have. Cam Newton, which, Cam is hit or miss in terms of killing you through the air, but it's still Cam Newton. But, I mean, again, with Atlanta and Matt Ryan, Drew Brees, come on, man. And we're going to miss Jameis Winston, so I'm not really sure who their backup is, but still, we can't even rest easy with that because we know what's happened to us in the past with backup quarterbacks. But you looking at guys like Phillip Rivers. We got some guys to face. Derek Carr. So our defense going to have to step up, man. Like Leonard said, hopefully it's just preseason. Let me see, guys. Where we at, man? Time check. We're about 35 minutes in, so just a few more minutes. Tony, my brother Tony. Tony says, I got a feeling that defense is going to play a lot better. Think about it. Our run defense in the preseason, I know it's preseason, but they're tackling better. Now they are. He's right. As much as I sat here and I said that there's been some missed tackles, the defense is not playing horribly, man. If you go back and watch the games, or if you didn't see those ones, make sure you watch the one come Saturday, okay? And hopefully they don't prove us wrong. But I think I'm seeing some improvement as well as seeing some areas of improvement, if you understand what I'm saying. But I think Tony is absolutely right. And he says, it makes teams one-dimensional. Yep, if we can stop the run and make people have to pass, and if we can get any type of pass rush. Now, we got some pressures. Oh, guys, I didn't want to forget my man Ola. Adani. Listen, I think Adani is going to make the team, the 53-man roster. I really do. Because I think that he is showing that he's capable of being a rotational guy, or at least somebody that you can bring in from time to time. Keon Adams and I think Ferguson Huganen are battling for the 5th spot. And when I say 5th spot, I think that the Steelers are going to keep 5 inside backers and 5 outside backers. I could be wrong. But I strongly think because of depth and knowing that there's not a whole lot beyond the starting lineup, I think they go 5 and 5. And I think the 5th on each position, Matthew Thomas will slide in there as the 5th inside linebacker kept. And I think Ola Adani will be the 5th outside linebacker. And I like the potential in this kid, man. I really do. I think he has a bright future and he has room to grow. Let's see. They definitely wasn't going to trade up and get Tremaine Edmonds. That was too much. That was too far for the Steelers to go. Yo, everybody give a round of applause, man, and give a huge shout out and thank you to Jump 2 Raw. He's in here watching. That's his artwork. He has blessed us with giving us the background, man, for the Terrible Towel Tuesday. So definitely make sure you guys say what's up and give him a shout out. Let's see. Anybody else? Anybody else? Anybody else with a good question? Frank V says, Watt is still a second-year player. Tua has regressed. Tony, you heard him? Tony says this a lot, too. He really has his eyes on Tua and see what Tua is going to do. So let me read that again. I apologize for interrupting his comment there. He says, Watt is still a second-year player. Tua has regressed. Hayden is old. Bud is a dud. And Cameron can't do it all himself. And Davis is gone after this year. Prepare to be pissed all year. Wow. Frank V, let me tell you something. Let's imagine that. Because me and Tony joke all the time, and Tony was the first one to say it. He said, we're going to go 7-9. Hey, let's be honest here. I mean, I think we ride a very high horse, man, because we win a lot. But there's going to be a time that's very possible that the Steelers are not the Steelers no more. And they have to completely start over. Hopefully it's not this year, but it could be. It could be. I hope not, but I'm just saying. You know, I think offensively is going to definitely keep us competitive, but we really don't know what defense we have yet. And all of our key guys are older guys. Your Joe Haydens, your Morgan Burnett's. See what I'm saying? Your John Bostic, which is, you know, somebody who's bounced around the league, has capability, but he hasn't stuck really on any team and has injuries. Cam Hayward, like my man said, he ain't gonna be able to do it all by himself. What Tua are we gonna get? Which Artie Burns do we finally have? What is Sean Davis gonna be? We don't know. It's a lot of question marks, man. So it could very well be that. And listen, I'm prepared for it. Let's see. What up, Ron? Ron Simpson in the building. Excuse me. Now, Frank V, I'm going to disagree with you here. He says the jury is out on Terrell Edmonds. No, man. Listen, it's way too early to be judging these players like that. Now, you might be proven to be right. I might be proven to be right. Neither one of us know yet. I think it's way too early for that. The kid is a rookie. He's getting adjusted. Let's not forget this, folks. The Pittsburgh Steelers drafted and probably will go down in history as having drafting one of the best safeties of all time in Troy Polamalu. Do y'all remember his rookie season? Do you remember his rookie season? That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Give the kids some chance. You know, get the kids, you know, chances to prove themselves, man. Let's see. 17th letter says they should have signed Trey Boston instead of Burnett, but whatever. I probably agree with you there. I think what's his name? Trey Boston was probably being offered more money than they were willing to pay. That's my best guess. You know, there was some guys still out there. Vaccaro was still out there. You know, of course, Eric Reed. We know what comes with Eric Reed. I'm not gonna go down that road, but I'm sure, you know, plenty of owners, there's an issue with Eric Reed. The reason why the man ain't playing football right now. We all know that situation. And I'm not saying the Steelers would have or wouldn't have, but I'm just saying. But yeah, I could agree with you. But again, we can't forget, man, how the Steelers do business and how much money they're willing to pay in free agency. So there you go there. All right, we're going to read one or two more, guys, then I got to run. Alan Woodall says, I think Mason Rudolph will be okay. The Steelers will win the division again. The secondary will be better. Very possible. We'll see. And there was another one I wanted to read, man. Good point, Charles. Charles says we have begun to depend on the offense. That's not good. That's not the Pittsburgh way. Tony and I talk about this all the time. When is the last time? Think about it. The Steelers the cog to that Steelers franchise is the linebackers. And this is one of the first times, man, that we ain't that sure. We're not confident in our linebackers. Wow. That alone hurts. That alone really, really hurts. Smitty753 says, Matthew Thomas be better on this team because, to be honest, he might be a starter by the end of the year. Listen, man, I'm a Knowles fan. Thomas has the capability. It's just, you know, his want to and his consistency is really what it comes down to. He has the capability, though. No doubt. All right, man. So I guess that's going to do it, guys. And, well, one last one. Alex Play says, I think we'll be 10-6, 12-4. Depends on which teams show up. I agree with you there, man. And listen, I just told Tony the other day, man, I say 10-6, maybe 11-5. It might be enough to get the division. I'm going to say this again to tick some of you guys off before we get out of here. Don't be surprised if the Pittsburgh Steelers lose to the Cleveland Browns week 1. Don't let it surprise you. I'm not sitting here saying today that we will. I'm just saying if it were to happen, let's not be surprised. Look at recent history. We've had very close games with the Cleveland Browns. Okay? You would expect them to be better this year with their receiving core, with their quarterback, whether it's Baker or Tyrod, which Tyrod doesn't scare me, but Tyrod is the type of guy that could mess around and give us a little better of a performance than Kaiser gave us last year, who almost beat us in week 1. And if our defense hasn't improved, I'm just saying, we'll see. But honestly here, this is something that I did want to say too, because this is the last comment I have for the night. I saw Max Kellerman said earlier on our first take. I think people are jumping the gun too early, man. It's preseason. Even Stephen A, you know, which Stephen A is a huge Steelers fan, and he's saying, oh, that defense, listen, I think we're premature with judging what the team is going to be until we see who the bona fide starters are and until we see the bona fide starters play as a unit. I don't think we know yet. We're going to get tested early in the year, yes, but I don't think we know today what type of defense we have. And I'm tired of hearing people saying the Steelers haven't addressed anything on defense. Look at the defense. Look at how many people that we're trying. Now, whether they spent enough money, we all know the answer to that. They don't do that. I mean, it just is what it is. They're not going to go pay an arm and a leg for a free agent. That ain't how they do it. But they drafted a safety in the first round. When the last time they did that? They brought in another safety, which, remember, I said that. But when free agency opened, I said, look, I think the Steelers are going to get a safety and draft one. They did exactly that. Brought in an inside linebacker. The inside linebacker they wanted was gone. They didn't value anybody else as high as Rashaan Evans. They went another direction. Brought in linebackers like Thomas and Adaney, all of these guys as UDFAs. You know, they are definitely trying to address the offense. The defense. Fact of the matter is, we just don't know how it's going to pan out until we see it in action. It's just that simple. And sometimes it's a hit, sometimes it's a miss. You know, you can't predict these things. So, there you go. Those are my words. We've gone way over time, but it is what it is when you're talking Steelers, man. It's always a good time. So, let me go ahead and get out of here, man. But before we go, shameless plug. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to the channel. If you're here for Steelers news, I'm usually here every Tuesday doing Terrible Towel Tuesday. Outside of that, I am also known as a gamer, and this is mainly a gaming channel. So if you're here for that and you haven't already, make sure you subscribe. But most importantly, cut on the notification button so you know when the next video is available. And I promise, man, that it never hurt you to hit the like button or the dislike button. But share your real thoughts. I always respect that. All right, man, that's enough, man. I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. We'll take a look on Saturday and see what we got. And next Tuesday, we'll be talking. All right, so y'all be good, man. Have a safe rest of the week. Enjoy some football this weekend. And thank you for tuning in to Terrible Towel Tuesday. Peace.